Josh was in the similar situation to what you were in when he went to Denver. What advice did he give you about making that transition and installing your culture?
Yeah, I think, and Josh and I had a lot of conversations about, his opportunities that he's had, and really I've done the same with a lot of the coaches, or even former players that I've had that are now coaches in the NFL. And, we have open conversation about it. I think the good thing is that we're all really individually our own guys. We're our own individual leaders and coaches and things like that. And I think that's the biggest part of it, is just to make sure that you're always just kind of true to who you are, and that's something that Josh and I talked a lot about in his experience and then, my experience here, and just making sure that everybody understands, the players will always respond to you just being you. They have to just learn who you are first before anything, and that's the biggest part of it. Before you get into the installation of, how you want to do things or what you want it to look like, or, what the importance are of some of the details that you think are critical to having a successful team.
Is who you are, is that an evolving thing when you're a head coach, as you're figuring out what's the right button to press and how hard to push it?
Yeah, there's no doubt. And I think that's who everybody is, right? As people just in jobs, no matter where you are. I think you constantly grow and you constantly learn, and part of it is the old adjective, you have one mouth, two ears, so listen twice as much as you speak. And I think the big part of that is, even as a coach, where you do a lot of speaking, you really have to do a lot of listening too in certain points, and say, all right, hey, what do you think about this, or what does this look like, or how do you guys feel about this? There's going to be certain situations where you're like, no, it's not what it is, and there's going to be a lot of situations where you're like, yeah, it's a really good idea. Why don't we try that, or why don't we look at that? And I think you have to do that as a coach. You got to do it as a player. You got to do it in this game just in general, so that you can continue to improve. You
learned a lot from the start of the preseason to now?
I hopefully think I learn a lot every day. So I would say that there's no doubt from wherever we were, started preseason, started spring, through the draft process, through all of it, you're continually evolving into hopefully whatever fits best for those situations.
You've only been a head coach a brief amount of time, but is there something you already realized that Belichick did really well that maybe you didn't see before you took this position?
Yeah, I would say the only thing that you can't really get a perspective on until you sit in this seat would be, I think I've mentioned this before, is just how much time that he would give me in particular and the other coaches of his, you walk in his office and he might be doing 1,000 things and you have no idea, and you're just kind of like, your question is the most important question in the entire world, so you've got to get it answered right away. And he would just stop and he would, explain it, teach it, coach it, and I'd move on. I'd go handle my situation, and I'm sure that he just got stockpiled with everything else that was walking through his door. I slowed him down a little bit, I'm sure, at that point, which you think you kind of realize, but you really don't realize, just how much is coming at you.
You have two rookies on the defensive side of the ball that seem to be making nice, natural, early progression. With young players like that don't have any pro experience, is it a little bit easier to instill your teaching, since you don't have to break down what they've learned professionally already?
You know what? I think we try to approach them all the same. From that standpoint, I think with young players, you're when you make the transition from college to the NFL, there's so much from just an awareness that you have to learn. The game's different. There's a lot of different dynamics to the game at this level than maybe at college, and that's the biggest thing you're trying to teach them, along with the technique and all the rest of it. But I think from a technique standpoint, everybody wants to learn, everybody wants to get better. All the players, but they want to be coached. That's the best part about it. So that's kind of standard across the board. I think it's just the catching up on the knowledge and the information for those guys is probably the biggest challenge coming out of college to the NFL.
Two different positions, obviously, but two different positions, obviously. But Hand and Walker, do you like the way that they're coming along?
Yeah, obviously, look, I'm going to be most importantly looking at the entire team right now, than individual players. And we've got to do better as a team in all three phases and go out and try to win, or get that done. But I'd say those guys are definitely trying to do what we want them to do from that facet. And I've seen improvement from those guys week to week, which is really what you're looking for. And I think that's kind of the fundamental bottom line for us, is that if you can improve individually week to week, we can improve collectively week to week, that we'll get better, and that's what we need to do.
Good, guys. Thank you.
Great. Thanks.